What is going on, party people? How are we doing tonight? It is time for another edition of Practice Makes Perfect League, the show that digs into the data, that shares with you the performance, the observed performance of players up and down the perfect team ladder. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. This was the first weekend for me since launch where I stepped away from the keyboard. I did not spam any tournaments. I did not list any cards on the auction house. I did not change my lineup. I took the family. We took advantage of the good weather and we went out camping. I'm nursing a little bit of a sunburn. Not sure if it comes through via the webcam here, but had an excellent time. And as someone who probably obsesses about this game more than most, I'll just say that every now and then, unplugging a little bit, intentionally stopping yourself from doing that next search within the auction house, intentionally saying, okay, I'm sure I've busted out of a tournament or two, and I don't need to rush myself back to my computer to sign into a new one, although I know many of you have figured out how to do that from your mobile phone. It's not a bad thing. And for me this weekend, it was a very welcome respite. And I hope you guys had a great weekend too. But let's get back to business here, because we are starting to get closer and closer to Perfect League. So if this is the only show you've ever seen with me on it on this main channel, then you're not used to what the typical main event is. So typically around this time of night, we are sharing who is in the Perfect League World Series, and Perfect League is going to be a league that sits atop this ladder system you see here. So as you can see on my screen right now, we've got 3 diamond leagues, we've got however many gold leagues, silver leagues, bronze leagues, iron leagues, stone leagues, rookie leagues. We do not have a perfect league. And the reason we don't have that is that's not constructed until it has the requisite number of teams that have worked their way up the ladder. And then it will be constructed, and there will be only one of them. There will be only one of them all game cycle long until we hear otherwise. And so what this show typically is a play-by-play and active analysis of the Perfect League World Series, which, as you might guess, when that's done, we are crowning the champion of the ladder for the week. And we'll do it week after week after week after week after week until we're blue in the face and until PT23 is a thing. But this show, if this is the show you're used to, we are trying to prepare for Perfect League. We are trying to make the decisions with our teams that put us in position to play within, and to excel in Perfect League. And I have a lot of fun doing it with you guys. This stream is way more interactive than the World Series stream. Now, the World Series stream, we obviously have to stay pretty focused on what's in front of us. We have to call the games. We have to call them in a certain speed so that we don't fall behind and allow the risk of spoilers to get out of control. This stream here, we can be a bit more methodical, a bit more intentional about moving through here. There's more opportunity for community-guided engagement. There's going to be a time during the stream when I'm going to ask you if there's any player that you want to see in the bottom right chart. Now is not that time, so hold off on it. But just really, really appreciate how much you guys have embraced this stream in the interim while we don't have a perfect league. There was a time when there was some doubt as to what we would do, what would make sense, what would people care about, what would stick within the vein of something relevant to those that wanted to and aspired to be in perfect league. And this seems to have fit the bill pretty well. And I gotta say, you guys overwhelm me every week with how generous you are with your time and effort to send me the league data, which constitutes this show. You guys do an incredible job, and just this week alone, we've got nearly 4 million observed plate appearances that we're going to be talking about tonight. 4 million. You can see the leagues on your screen that I've got tonight. We've got 2 rookie leagues. We've got 1 iron league, 1 stone league. We've got, count them up, 6 bronze leagues, 6 silver leagues, 3 gold, and 2 diamond. Riff Raff's elbow. Yep, you're right. The baselining for 220 looks funky. What this typically means, this doesn't always mean that there's been a data pull problem. What that means is that it's typically one of the short leagues. So oftentimes in a level, to make the numbers work, there's one league that doesn't have the typical 30 teams. And so it's effectively a prorated baseline. D352 is not included. I did not get my hands on that data. So we are missing 1 diamond league. We will effort to have more of them next week. And look at that. Lipitor kid wins the first championship of their first championship of OTP 22 in bronze. Congrats to you. All right, so how do we run this show? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our nomads. We're going to see what I did this week. We're going to see how that turned out, what decisions I'm making in my build, what I've learned from the decisions that I've made. And then we're going to get into the data at a specific instance perspective. And by that, I mean we're going to look around and see which copies of which players on which teams had the most standout performances of this year, who hit the most homers, who had the highest slugging percentage, who logged the most WAR, etc., etc. And then once we're done with that funny business, seeing the league leaders for the week, we're going to look at global performances of those players. So instead of looking at one copy of Jackie Robinson, we're going to look at all the Jackie Robinsons and then see how that data comes together. And then when we're done with that, when we feel like we've gotten our fill of information about what players are good, who's performing well, who's someone to target, then we'll close out with a perfect draft and then get you onto DishNet, assuming DishNet is following me as he typically is. And first off, kudos to DishNet. He definitely carries a lot of weight in helping wrangle folks trying to get their data involved here. Not even something I asked him to do. He just does it out of the goodness of his own heart, and because he's just that kind of guy. So thank you to DishNet for doing so. It's very much appreciated. As I mentioned at the top here, I was camping until about noon today, and so anyone who was DMing me or anyone who was looking for support on how to get that data extract right was getting nothing but crickets until about an hour or two ago. And I know that DishNet and Kidneys and others have been very instrumental about helping people find their way. All right, I think it's time to jump in. It is time to jump in. Let's look at the standings. So how did the Nomads do this week? And I'll tell you, I won less games this week. I only won 92 games, but I felt way better about the team. Now, this is a tougher league. This is a BFF league. It's a friends group league, and these teams are way better constructed than the teams that were in my league last week. And so picking up 100 plus wins like I did last week, in my opinion, is less of an achievement of getting the 92 wins and picking up the division win you see here. Now, in the playoffs, things got a little hairy for the Nomads. So winning the division, I get to avoid the wild card game, which was great. But then waiting for me in the division series was my IRL buddy, the Houston Aeros, managed by TexCow22. And we went the distance. We went 5 games, and he was able to pull it out and push me out of the playoffs. Then moving on to beat the Lima Beans and beat Soap Company BFF for the championship. So it was not a World Series winning week for the Nomads, but again, a week that I was pretty happy with what we did. Now let's take a look at the players on the team and how they did. So for the, 4th week in a row, we've got Heavy Johnson. I did change a bit about how I was deploying him. So I got more plate appearances out of Heavy, and that's because I moved him from catching so much. So you see that I got 40 starts out of him in left, 16 starts in right, 23 starts at first, and then 42 at catcher, which is less catching this week than most recent weeks. And part of the reason that I did less catching with him this week is because I got the Jonathan Lacroix card. So as I mentioned on my Thursday stream after this card came out, I don't think this is an end game catcher by any means. And shoot, we're going to get a 100 Lacroix here in however many weeks it takes for Chris to drop them. But in the interim, as long as we've got this Roy Campanellas hanging around, and as we've got Jorge Posadas, and we've got Bubbles Hargraves, and Heavy Johnsons, and other catchers that aren't that great, this is a good fit. Comes with good catcher ability, okay arm, and then a batting profile that's got a shape that's going to hit both ways. You're going to convert a lot of your singles into doubles. You're going to walk a good bit. You're not going to strike out a ton. I really like this Jonathan Lacroix card as a placeholder, as I'm looking for some of those names that are being mentioned in the chat here. A McCarver, a Charles Johnson, some of the other higher ability catchers that are being targeted by the higher level teams. So we've got Jonathan Lacroix. He did a good job for me. I mean, 142 OPS plus and 34 starts down the stretch. Shoot, I wish I got him before Thursday. Could have definitely had an even bigger impact. 1.5 WAR before the end of season adjustment there. And so I kicked Bubbles Hargrave out, not because I was mad at him, not because he wasn't hitting. He was hitting. I was just kind of done with the whole horrible arm build. I guess Phil Mazzey's not a lot better. But Phil Mazzey came in. I wanted a catcher who would really hit lefties, and Mazzey came in. He did just that. Higher catcher ability than Bubbles, better catcher arm than Bubbles as well, and just something that was something new to try out, given that we had done Bubbles for a couple weeks on end now. And I got a 142 OPS plus out of Macy as well. So the catcher position really performing for the Naperville Nomads. One quick thing to point out, this is important. So I did change my ballpark factors. I changed them. So every week of this stream so far, I've been maxed out. So what that means, if that doesn't mean anything to you, is raising the factors to the max that the game will let you. So you can change your stadium, and we're not talking about distances and wall heights. We're talking about the ballpark factors themselves. You can change your stadium to either make it easier to have a high average in your park or harder. So basically changing the difficulty of that batted ball in play. How often is it going to fall versus how often is it going to end up in a glove or end up in a fielded play. And you can do the same with doubles, triples, and home runs. And for anyone new, the maximum factor you can put on average is 1.1. The minimum is 0.9. Maximum on doubles and triples is 1.5. The minimum is 0.5. And then home runs is similar to average in that you can range from 0.9 to 1.1. And so I had been living fully maxed out for the purposes of perfect point generation. Well, that ship has sailed, as my team no longer has the ability to generate perfect points because water's kind of found its level. I'm no longer a 120, 130 plus win team, and so I wanted to try to min max a little bit and start picking out some players. And I'll talk to you about some of the pitching players I picked out this week, and we'll talk about how that makes sense with this build here. But if you've never messed with your stadium factors, I encourage you to do so. It'll help you understand the game better. You will see different players perform differently with those, so don't just wave this off as something like, oh, that doesn't really matter. It's not going to make a big impact. What's 0.9 versus 1.1? That's not much of a swing. It really does make a pretty profound impact, and if you build your team around that stadium park factors, you're going to give yourself a discernible home field advantage. So I would definitely encourage you to explore that and ask questions as you have them. All right, so let's move on. What else did we have going on the team this week? So we're sticking with Madrigal for the nth week in a row. Madrigal threatens for the batting title just about every week. This week was a little down from last week, only 323 on the average there. We're starting to get to the point where the OPS plus is sagging a bit. He's no longer going to be living up in that 140, 150 range, but he'll still hit for a high average, play an okay defense. That defense likely to phase itself out as we continue to move on up the chain here. Harry Heilman. So I got Harry Heilman in here, and I mean, you see this VL profile, and we were gushing about it on Thursday. Still gushing about it now. Love the shape of it. There's a lot of blue to be excited about there. The only thing not to be excited about here is that it's a DH card. As you see, the defense is just really bad. And it's also a short side platoon card. And so what short side platoon means is you're gonna play this card versus left-hand pitching, and there's not as much left-hand pitching as there is right-hand pitching. So you're not going to get nearly as many starts as you would from a full-time player. For example, Harry Heilman got 15 starts, and I put him in the lineup at the exact same time that I put in Jonathan Lacroix, who picked up 34. So while we love short side platoon bats who can really hit, who can really swing it, just know that the overall impact of a short side platoon bat is less than that of a strong side platoon bat, which would most often take the form of a left-handed hitter. All right, but how did Harry Heilman do in the time that I gave him? And the answer is not well. Now, we're talking really small sample sizes here. Do not ever get worked up over anything less than 100 plate appearances. But we've got 77 plate appearances here where he didn't hit for average, he didn't get on base, and he didn't slug. So while it was one of the cards I was most excited about on Thursday, did not see those early returns from a Harry Heilman. You know, Adrian Beltre, I threw him in the lineup too. And Beltre playing third base kind of gave me similar production to Heilman. Not great average, not great OBP, not great slug. I did sell off Rosen, so Al Rosen and David Justice. If you've been watching these streams, you've seen them week to week. I decided it was time for them to find a new home. It was time for them to find a new home. So I actually started this week with a future legend at third. Who was it? It was Marco Luciano. So he showed well in our data last week, and so I figured I'd give him a run this week. It wasn't going well. The Adrian Beltre card drops on Thursday, and so I plopped him in. I don't see either of them as the long-term solution for the Nomads, but fun to give both a try while you can. That might be the extent of our offensive changes week over week. It is. So let's talk about pitching. All right, so pitching is where I made the most changes, got probably the most aggressive week over week. And we can actually go to my pitching data and see exactly what I was doing. There we go. So let me toggle this to last week so we can do this kind of play-by-play. There we go. All right, so I basically went for just a full overhaul here. Just wanting to have fun with it, wanting to play things around. And so this was our data from last week. These were our top performing starting pitchers from last week. And so I had Cy Young, felt good about that. I didn't have Satchel Paige. And so I went ahead and completed that collection. I was probably 4 or 5 pitchers from it when the week ended. Was able to pick them up sometime between, it looks like, Monday and Tuesday. He got 24 starts for me. So somewhere around there, I picked up Satchel Paige. I added John Matlack. You see John Matlack as my number 3 down here. And then I added Harry Howell. You see him down here. And I added Steve Rogers. So I decided to basically just let my data push me. Now, I wasn't ready to drop a big chunk of change on a Roy Oswalt or an Icebox Chamberlain or a Red Arrett or a Bob Carruthers. So I didn't back up the Brinks truck of perfect points to do so. But I basically said, okay, data, you're telling me to go this direction. I'll go ahead and push you there. And I was pushing out names like Justin Verlander and names like Lucas Giolito live. So doing things that my data said were upgrades, and you see the observed performance here, not bad. You know, Cy Young and Satchel Paige actually struggled more than you'd expect, but John Matlack, Harry Howell, both great this week. I think my head might be blocking them. No, it's not. So Harry Howell, great. Now, Steve Rogers did not have a good week. And the mistake that I made this week is one that I hope everyone can learn from. So you can't just look at observed statistics and say, okay, I'm going to pick up that guy and that's what he's going to do for me. You have to contextualize it with your team. And so all of these guys that perform pretty well here are lower stuff guys like this Steve Rogers. So only 74 on the stuff overall, which is 69 versus left, 77 versus right. Well, if I'm going to pick up this guy and expect good performance, I'm going to need to have a good defense behind him. And that's not something that I invested in. And so don't just look at observed stats and say, okay, that guy got a great week out of Steve Rogers. Maybe I can do the same. You have to think about what type of team needs to surround a player to be successful. And if you're going to be rolling out a shoddy defense like I have, you're going to want to err on the side of stuff and likely take the risk with either movement or control so that you're not taking it out of the equation, but you're lessening the importance of the ball in play from the equation. Herrick Photo telling me I needed Jack Crooks at third, a walk machine. Got a couple people saying Pete. Riff Raff's elbow doesn't understand running these guys over Langston. Well, where's Langston? Langston's here. I guess the data was telling me to run him. I wonder what's different between how we have this sliced versus how we had it last week. I'm guessing that maybe we also had bronze data in here last week, and maybe that's what tilted it. Either way, we don't need to fish it out, but the lesson to be learned here is make sure you understand the types of players you're putting on your team and surround them with the types of players they need to be successful. Now let's look at the bullpen. Irv Young in my bullpen data last week stuck out very strong. There we go. So Irv Young was number 4 in the data with almost 500 innings pitched. Definitely the cheapest of these 4 options. So I put him in as a stopper role. Now, what is a stopper? A stopper is not a traditional closer. A stopper is someone who is brought into high leverage, important moments in the game. It could be late. You could see your stopper pitch the 8th and the 9th inning, or you could also see him be called upon in the 6th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. So the stopper is not someone who adheres to and I guess I shouldn't call it the modern bullpen usage, because we saw with Andrew Miller in Cleveland in 2016, that was kind of rewritten, and you've seen some teams running it since then. But the stopper is someone who has somewhat of a versatile bullpen role, and for guys that have high stamina, so Irv Young is a converted starter, they can take on that role and thrive. And that's exactly what Irv Young did for me this week. Picked up over 100 great innings pitched for me. Picked up 8 wins and 11 saves in the process. Minerva asking if Irv Young is related to Cy Young. I couldn't tell you. I'm guessing no. Ooh, you know what? One thing I forgot to put up earlier. So, as has been our hallmark as a show since the beginning of time, we mispronounce names here. So you guys are going to keep me honest. Call out the mispronunciations as we have them, and we'll see how low we can keep the number this week. We'll see how good we can keep it. All right, so Irv Young is a stopper. Loved it. Diego Castillo. This was someone that this stream, quote unquote, found last week. We were looking at this data and we said, holy cow, guys. Diego Castillo is the 5th best reliever, and he's a live card. What in the world is going on? And then, of course, Monday morning comes, and he takes a dip. Takes a dip in the live card rating. He goes from a 90 to an 88. For science, we left him in the pen. We left him in, and he punished us for it. 61 garbage innings, giving up 9 dingers, walking the world. So 5.7 walks per 9 innings, and not rewarding us with many strikeouts. Diego Castillo will not be on this team next week. Maybe the real Castillo was the friends we made along the way. Truer words have never been spoken. So that's Diego. Everyone say goodbye to Diego. We'll see him later. Justin Verlander, I did not have him in the pen all week long, but ended up moving to him later on in the week, just because I can't remember who was struggling. It was one of the low golds that had popped up in this data and was low. It was Al Brazel. That's what it was. So we went with Al Brazel, and it didn't go well. And so I went ahead and hot swapped into Justin Verlander, and Verlander was nails here in 29 innings. Casey Jansen, not great. Asa Lacy, not great. Here's Langston. We were talking about him earlier. He gave me 96 really strong innings. And then Joe Nathan. So this guy dropped on Thursday, and in, what do we have here, 12 innings, he was awesome. He was awesome, even rocking a pretty rough BABIP here. So 1.46 ERA, a lot of that depressed by the fact that he only gave up one home run, and he was walking literally nobody. He gave up one walk in 12 innings, so I'm excited about this card. I don't think this is end game. I don't think this is something that you can't win without by any stretch. But I think it's great for now, and I think that when the 100 comes out, it'll be even better. It will be even better. Harak Photo says that 98 Nathan lost him a division series with a blown save. No fun there. All right, so this was the Nomads. So as far as where we go from here, as far as what next week looks like, we know Diego Castillo is finding a new home. I'll probably send Casey Jansen and Asa Lacy on their way as well. Would love to pick up some of these other names, and we'll see what names pop up this week. We'll see who's showing up this week. Let's go ahead and toggle over to 2025 because we are done with 2024 and we are moving forward. And the way that we move forward, the first thing we do is we look at who is leading our all-time win rates. Who's on top? Now, the last couple weeks, it's been the San Angelo Warbirds. And this week, it is not. This week, it is Chunks Flappalopes at 86%. Warbirds right behind him. Wayzata right behind him. Brooklyn Cyclones. Kyer Banog, Killer Rabbits. Yatsushiro Igusa Nuka. Oh, Yzeta. I mispronounced Yzeta again, but that is not a name. That is not a baseball player name. So that is not going on the resume. That is not ticking up the counter. Maybe it is. You guys be the judge. Do we take it to 1 or do we leave it at 0? Oh, boy. Yzeta. You know, if I'm getting tripped up by team names, you guys are really not giving me an assist here. All right, we move on. Maine Whiskey Tango. The Sheffield Hill People. Somerset Dolphins. Detroit Fury. New Jersey Family. Pawtucket Poets. Kyer Banog also mispronounced. I wonder how that is pronounced. Kerbanog, maybe? Kerbano. Maybe it's a soft G. All right, we move on. So this is the all-time win rates. Now let's look at just 2025. And so what I've added into this view is the level, so that we know the level upon which they are doing it. Carbonog, says Luke. Thank you, Luke. So Sheffield Hill People, they were our top of the sugar pile this week. 132 wins in Stone. Very impressive stuff there. Behind them was the Coates Vegas Trap Stars. We'll go with that. The Magico Betting Gamblers. The Osgood Senators. PEL stalwart from last year. San Angelo Warbirds, 122 and 40. Gashouse Gorillas, Upper West Side Schmears. Let me direct your attention, though, to someone showing up on this list in a Diamond League. So let's think about who's in a Diamond League right now. The people in a Diamond League are teams that were part of Entry Pool, that did well in Entry Pool, and therefore landed in the highest level you can land in after Entry Pool, and have since promoted every single week. So the Diamond League right now is consisted with teams that have known nothing but success, and by being surrounded by those teams and still picking up 115 wins for, again, a very cleverly named Schrodinger's Bats. 115 wins, very notable. Very, very, very notable. We see a couple other diamond teams here. We have the Glendale Golden Grizzlies, a PEL stalwart from last year. We have Spark Altitude, a team I'm not familiar with. What do we have here? The Berlin Blue Crabs. They definitely spent a lot of time in Perfect League last year. Durham Los Toros, Mackenzie Eagles from M-Dubs. Brick Green Dragons. They were a Perfect League champion last year. Fubon Guardians. I believe that's Fabtron. Hey, there's Naperville Nomads. How about them? Waco Warriors at 91 wins, and Legends United at 90. So look out for these teams that are already showing dominance at the high levels. Good stuff. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do what we are meant to do on this show. Let's look at some league leaders now. So what we're going to do is we are going to start with runs. And another thing I've added in here is the level view. So as we're looking at a standout performer, we'll know immediately which level that they accomplished the feat in. So let me do one quick thing here. Let us shrink this to fit. Beautiful. And we start with runs. All right, so who is our run leader of the week? That is going to be Nick Madrigal, a card on my team and a card that we've seen in this category for weeks on end. We have him at the top of this by the Coates Vegas Trap Stars. Behind him, we have Joe Kelly of the Gas House Gorillas, and then a low gold card, Dave Fultz of the Loveland Frogmen. Let's see if we can get an eyes on Dave Fultz. Historic gold, always a risk to go for, but he's here. So here's a nice little interesting low gold card. You know, a bit understated from a backup card hitting rating perspective. We don't love gap power being the highest rating any given time. But what we do love here is the base stealing profile. We've got 95 speed. We've got 105 stealing. When the stealing is over the speed, that typically means that we're going to have a high efficacy rate, that oftentimes when they steal, they will do so successfully. The defense here leaves much to be desired, but an interesting card nonetheless. All right, after Dave Fultz, we have our first Jackie showing up here on this leaderboard from the Windy City Summoners, PBE, and then a couple Alan Trammels show up. We've got a Mike Trout, Alan Trammell, Dykstra, Garcia Parra. These are the players living at tops of lineups and doing so successfully. I do see a diamond card peeking through down here as well. That's a Jackie Robinson for the mighty Mallrats of the Illinois Valley of Gaming. I believe I've got that correctly. I might have it wrong, but I just recently learned of their group. Good group of guys. All right, let us see what's next. So after runs, we look at home runs. So who led home runs this week? It's Hack Wilson. It's your kidney's favorite card. 46 home runs. Now, it might come as no surprise that our first 6 entrants on this home run leaderboard are all in the rookie league. All in the rookie league. So easier to generate power down low when you have less power as disseminated amongst the league. So pretty interesting stuff. This is interesting. Steve Balboni with 41 homers. Now, I don't know that we've seen someone playing with their numbers to this point in this game. But if an iron card popping 41 homers, that's kind of surprising. Let's see what Steve Balboni looks like. Well, he's got the profile to do it down in gold, or excuse me, down in rookie maybe. It's a right-handed batter with a wild-looking bird profile. Maybe in the right league, Balboni can hit 41, and maybe he just did. Yeah, Riff Raff's elbow. We are going to sort as we move on to our global players. We are going to sort by the top 3 leagues, but for the sake of league leaders, we are going to do this with all the leagues included. All right, so after Balboni, we've got a Josh Gibson showing up here. So 41 homers playing up in silver. That's good to see. Interesting to see for sure. We got a Hack Wilson in iron doing 39. Here's a diamond card. Look at Chuck. Look at T-Chuck and his Ronald Acuna Jr. popping 39 bombs in diamond. What are you doing, T-Chuck? And you know what I'm going to guess? If I had to put money down right now, I would guess that this Ronald Acuna is playing first base too. I could be totally wrong. I could be. T-Chuck says, guess what position he played. I hope I'm right. I did pop that out before you put guess what position he played in the chat for the record. But I'm guessing he played right at first base because that's what T-Chuck is meant to do. That's what he does. Hack Wilson in bronze at putting up 38. We got a Nelson Cruz live in stone doing 37. That Nelson Cruz was just boosted this week. Used to be a gold, now is a diamond. Another live down in iron doing 37. Here's a diamond card. We got a diamond Eddie Matthews putting up 36. A diamond Orlando Cepeda. I know that one. I just mispronounced it by accident. That's not one I need to be corrected on, but it is a mispronunciation. Orlando Cepeda at 36. Tim Jordan down at 35. So these are our home run leaders for the week. We move on to ribbies. Let's see some ribbies. $143. So we've got Nomar Garciaparra, and we're seeing this team name over and over again. The Coates Vegas Trap Stars with another entry here on the leaderboard. 143 ribs out of their Nomar Garciaparra in their bronze league. Behind him is another Nomar. So I think Nomar might be popping up on these lists because he's got a good hitting profile, but he also can play a lot of games. He's typically placed at first base, so wearing out slower than, say, a shortstop or a second baseman or a center fielder. So that's at least a factor. I haven't looked at global averages for how many games a starting shortstop, an everyday starting shortstop plays versus an everyday starting first baseman versus an everyday DH. That'll definitely be something that I look at later on in the game cycle as we get closer to perfect. But we've got Nomar here at the top of this list in places 1 and place 2. Euchre Kazami asking me if I like Felix P.A., the failed Cubs prospect of the early 2000s. No, he still frustrates me to this day. All right, Enos Slaughter. Slaughter got 136 ribs in bronze for the Waffletown Syrups. Here's a gold. We got a gold Nomar at 135. We got a silver Hack, 132. Silver Slaughter at 132 as well. Let's find a diamond card. Let's go diamond hunting. How far do we need to go before we find a diamond? And that's row 46. So basically that would be what, 35th on the list here? 36 on the list. It's Josh Gibson for Legends United. 31 homers and 115 RBIs. I don't think you can say RBIs. I think you have to say RBI. Because it's not runs batted in. It's just runs batted in. So 115 ribbies for Josh Gibson in diamond. I know there was question as to what Josh Gibson would do. And at least for Legends United, he has been doing well. What else do we have going on here that's of note? Got an Adrian Gonzalez hitting in gold. It's interesting. Let's find another diamond entrant. There we go. Orlando Cepeda at 109. All right, we move on from RBI. We move to stolen bases. Stolen bases. I can't talk tonight. It's all that camping. All that campfire. Cool Papa Bell, top of this list. I want to say it was last week that we had Mac Jackson, his Cool Papa Bell with something silly like 157. This week it's less silly, but it's still pretty ridiculous. 150 steals for the Adirondack Lolcats, part of BFF. We had Cool Papa Bell at second place as well for the Bay Area Brawlers, BFF. Look at George Hogriver. What in the world is going on there? If that's Hogriver, someone call me out on it. We gotta change the mispronunciation counter. Apparently it's a Milwaukee Brewer with just a delicious stealing profile. 97 speed, 106 stealing. Yep, Spleen, you're absolutely right. That leading bell is in my league. The Adirondack Lolcats, they were the number 1 seed on my side of the league. Yeah, something tells me this was not the Brewers logo when George played. Something tells me those might be different. So after George, a low iron, putting up 133 steals in rookie. We have Cool Papa Bell turning the trick in Diamond. 132 steals for the Brick Green Dragons, Cool Papa Bell. We have within Diamond, Cool Papa Bell doing the same for the Fubon Guardians. So if you have in your mind that you want a speed-themed team, that you want the best base stealers in the game, that equation absolutely starts with Cool Papa Bell today. You need Cool Papa Bell if you want to be that team today. Oh, we've got a Fred Snodgrass. Look at Fred. None up in the auction house right now, but a 97 Fred Snodgrass in silver, putting up 122. Got a Bert Hooten 119. Ned Hanlon. Ned Hanlon, for as cheap as his card is getting in the auction house, still putting up some good numbers in great defense. And looking at and closing out the over 100 club, we've got Bob Bescher, George Case. Wow. I'm surprised that Case could get up there, but I guess he's a great base stealer. Yeah, I've got him on my bronze team. I should know George Case better than I do, apparently. All right, so we move on from stolen bases. Let's go to WAR. Now, I cheated and I looked ahead, so I know if someone got above 10 or not. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you guys think someone broke through 10 WAR this year, yes or no? That's kind of been right around where we have our leaders. Either they're over 10 or just under it. We've got a lot of rookie leagues this week. We've got a lot of bronze leagues this week. Let's check it out. 9.8 is our high water mark, and it's coming to us in a bronze league from Jackie Robinson for the Windy City Summoners PBE. Really the only one close. Only one even close. Alan Trammell at 9.2 in silver beneath him. Alan Trammell in bronze at 9.1. Then a wild future legend, Pedro Leon. I believe that's Leon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm itching to get that first mispronounced name up there. Interesting prospect coming out of Cuba for the Houston Astros. Putting up 9.1 WAR in rookie. We've got Trammell in bronze at 8.9, and then a couple of Jackies, both in diamond. One on the Twitter Trolls and one on the Mighty Mallrats. Both at 8.6. Miller Huggins, 8.4. And then a bunch more Alan Trammell. Dave Bancroft, Barry Larkin. Larkin was outperforming WAR early on when we were doing this. Hasn't popped as much the last couple of weeks. RDT24 in the chat saying that Hack always puts up 10 WAR, best card ever. All right, let's move on from WAR. Maybe we'll see 10 next week, or maybe as we're getting further and further from the startup of the leagues, maybe we'll never see it again. We'll see. Let's see who the batting champion was of this week, of 2025. And look at that. Batting champion of the week comes to us from the Texarkana Tornadoes, and our league team in silver. It's an Alan Trammell hitting .368. Holy cow. That's a big week. Crushing the field by 12 points. Outdoing the Baltimore Terrapins, Nomar Garciaparra. Outdoing Kevin Seitzer, an oldie but a goodie. In the very first stream that we did of this show type, we had a Seitzer popping off the page, and we've got a bronze Seitzer reclaiming some of that glory here tonight. Behind him, we've got a couple Madrigals. We've got EBC's Banshees Madrigal in gold, doing .352. Look at that. We've got the Coates Vegas Trap Stars Madrigal at .349 in bronze. Now let's hunt down a bit and see who the top hitter in our Diamond League data is. There it is. It's Nap Lajoie. Now that is a name that I mispronounced probably 80% of the game cycle last year. Finally ended up getting right on it once the final Nap Lajoie card came out. A fun name to say and a fun card to play for sure, and that rhyme was unintentional. But this is a high gold card, a high gold SE, a tournament SE. You can win them in perfect drafts. You can win them in tournaments. And picking up a huge week here, hitting .334 in diamond as a gold card. Yeah, the reason you've never seen this card is probably because the supply is a lot lower than you might expect. None in the auction house right now. I think I sold one. No, maybe I didn't. Let's see if there's any more diamond entrants here. Here's a diamond. Jackie Robinson of the Twitter Trolls at .327. And then Joe Kelly and Jackie in diamond at .324. And Enos Slaughter in diamond, .323. Oscar Charleston, .320 in diamond. Wainum asking how long this has been going. We've been going for about 47 minutes. If you're worried about your drops, you don't need to worry. We've got some more time to go. I believe Dish is on right after me too. So you're good. DRC, how would you pronounce Philadelphia correctly? All right, let's move on from average. We go to OBP. And this one pops off the page for us. We've got a couple of Mike Trouts just going bananas with the OBP. And so the thing with Mike Trout's profile is that he doesn't have a very good BABIP. So when he puts the ball in play, it's not oftentimes going to fall for a hit. But if in a given season you can find yourself with an unusually high BABIP for a Mike Trout and have that run concurrently with him hitting a number of home runs for you, very heavy power profile, as well as him walking a ton, then you can see crazy things like this. You can see crazy things like a Mike Trout live card logging a .456 OBP in bronze, or a Mike Trout live card logging a .447 OBP in a Stone League. So that card is one that I'm still running today, and one that can give you some outlier performances. Oh boy, I wish Kidneys were here to answer Waffless's question here. So where on a card do we see a good or bad BABIP? There's no way I'm going to be able to explain this as effectively as Kidneys could, but I'll do my best. Okay, so BABIP is not on the card. It is something that is a bit of I wouldn't call it a hidden rating, but it's definitely, it's not on the card and it is relevant. And the way that it is calculated, and it's not like an A plus B equals C thing, so it's more complicated than I'm about to make it out to be, but it is a combination of contact, power, and avoid K. And so depending on the relationship of the ratings of the cards themselves, you can surmise whether a BABIP would be high or it would be low. So things that would result in a BABIP being high, and Nick Madrigal's a great illustration of that, would be high contact, low power, high avoid Ks. And so to kind of put that into baseball speak, he is not striking out very frequently at all, almost never striking out. He's not hitting the ball over the fence, and yet he's got an off-the-charts contact rating. And so for that to be true, the BABIP has to be really strong. I don't know that I'm helping you at all. I'm likely making this more confusing. But in terms of shorthand of how do I know when a BABIP is good, how do I know when it's bad, if you see a relationship like this, you're going to have a strong BABIP. Let's find a card that is not a great BABIP. Here you go. All right, so let's look at the versus right profile of this Hack Wilson card. So power is the most dominant trait. It's got, what is that? 33 points on contact. And then our avoid Ks is also low. Avoid Ks actually being low kind of helps this card. If the avoid Ks was any higher, the BABIP would get even worse. So it's a bit confusing. It takes a while to get a feel for it. But definitely something that you need to understand, that you just can't take 90, not all 93 contacts mean the same thing. Yeah, so now I don't know. Waffless asked if speed is involved. I don't know that speed is involved. I'm showing off my ignorance now, but I don't think that speed is involved in the BABIP, but I could be wrong. Pond 26535 saying that it is involved. We've got Yuka saying that it's not. Now, in real life, speed is absolutely involved. Like if you're speed correlates to a high BABIP in real life. So if you're able to beat out infield hits, that's going to give you another route to getting on base, another route to achieving hits. So that's absolutely inextricably linked together. All right, so we move on from our little distraction there, and we move on to slugging. Who's at the top of slugging? We've got a George Foster putting up a huge number in rookie, 635. A Bronze Slaughter in second place at 617. We've got that Pedro Leon we just talked about of the Hana Kimuras at 609 here. Hack Wilson 601. And let's move on down until we see some high-level leagues. We've got a gold Nomar Garciaparra at 570. We have got a gold Nomar at 556. Haven't seen a diamond card yet. Gold Hack at 543. Gold Enos, 543. We're searching for our first diamond entrant. And there it is. It's Oscar Charleston of the Glendale Golden Grizzlies at 533. Ripper Collins in diamond at 532. That Ripper Collins, a nice looking card. This one of the Springfield Isotopes. Enos Slaughter, Orlando Cepeda. We've seen him a couple times already tonight. Another Charleston, another Charleston. So Charleston's showing up a lot on the slugging leaderboard. Let's go to OPS. Who is our league leader for the week in OPS? And it's George Foster again. A rookie level George Foster playing for the Concord Evil Beavers. Put up a 1.036, just edging out Waffletown Syrups in our league team in bronze, and his Enos Slaughter at 1.034. We've got Hack Wilson of the Madera Running Rebels at 1.028 in rookie as well. So let's find some high-level leagues here. Some gold and diamond. We've got a gold Alan Trammell at 948. Gold Nomar, Gold Enos. And then our first diamond is Enos Slaughter of the Quebec Dragons. Yeah, if your league is not in these stats and you gave me data, then that likely means there ended up being something wrong with the format of it. And I had to scrap it. So as I was previewing the stats, I sorted by war, and there was one league with the war column was off. And so it said the war leader of the week had like 47 war. And so I had to just nuke that entire league. There were a couple other leagues that had to be scrapped as I tried to import them, and they didn't fit as well. So if you are one of those folks that submitted league data and it's not in here, work with me. We'll get it worked out during the week so that come Sunday we can seamlessly get it in there. All right, so those are our league leaders of the week. Now let's build a team. Let us build a team. So we will go position by position, and we can look at this by card tier, and we're going to look at the stats generated in the top 3 leagues. So for the purposes of league leaders, we're looking at all types of leagues. For the purposes of this exercise, we are just going to look at diamond, gold, and silver because we want to know who is performing in the top leagues. Who is performing when the surrounding players are best. And so for this exercise, we'll leave bronze, iron, rookie, and stone on the sideline. And we start with catcher. And the number one catcher in this data set from a bat perspective, and now remember, we're sorting this by bat R. Now, what is bat R? Is bat R an end-all, be-all stat that you just sort by this and then pick those players? No. Bat R is something that we first started looking at heavily when we were doing our Perfect League broadcast last year. Because when we're looking at a given matchup, we are only caring about what the pitcher and what the hitter have done historically. And so we isolated down to the bat R because we weren't looking for total value. We weren't looking for WAR metrics. We weren't looking for base running metrics. We wanted to know when Randy Johnson, 100 legend, faced off against Hank Aaron, 100 face of the franchise, what had they done historically with their bat versus with their arm? And so we're sticking with that same theme here. We are looking at bat R. And so bat R, simply stated, is the number of runs generated by that player by simply with their bat. And so it can go negative. So if you are a below average bat within your league, you will produce negative bat R. And you can see a ton of that, especially at the catcher position. But if you're producing excess bat R, producing more runs with your bat than the average hitter, then you'll see them grow here. Hopefully that makes sense. One and only Pidge says bat R puts butts in the seats and improves your organization in every imaginable way. I mean, if you like ball go far mentality, if you want to run up the scoreboard, if you want to max out your stadium in terms of ballpark factors, not a bad idea to give the home field fans something to cheer about as they're watching their home team score 10 runs a game. Now, you might give up 12, but heck, if it wouldn't be fun in the process. All right, so let's talk about the catchers here. So we got Heavy Johnson first. Heavy Johnson is my guy. I play him some at catcher. I play him some in the field. But in terms of long-term viability, where Heavy fits in, Heavy is a utility guy and should be used as such. So as your team is fully constructed, as your team is ready to make the leap into perfect league, if Heavy's on it, Heavy's likely not starting anywhere. Heavy's backing up everywhere. Able to catch a game if he needs to. Able to play a game at short, left, center, right, first base. And keep everyone fresh. So love me some Heavy Johnson. As you can see from my personal copy of Heavy, the next year that he bats under 300 will be his first. He's always had a leading OPS plus, best being my iron performance at 155. But just a really fun card. And something that you need to build Jackie Robinson's. So I always love him. This number's a bit inflated here. I wouldn't count on him to be an outlier like this. And look who's number 2. It's Bubbles Hargrave. Bubbles is trying to earn our love back. Bubbles is trying to earn his way back onto the Naperville roster, and it's not going to happen. We have evolved beyond Bubbles. We've moved on. We've got Josh Gibson 3rd. And so a big question was how the Josh Gibson profile would work today. Now, I don't have a Josh Gibson. I'm hoping that there's one up in the auction house. There isn't. Maybe there's one in my league. Nope. No BFFer in my league has a Josh Gibson either. But it's a high contact, high power profile. Extremely high power. The void Ks is low. So as we talked about BABIP before. BABIP. He's not going to have a great BABIP, but the BABIP would be significantly worse if his avoid K was off the charts too. But high power, high contact, low avoid K. And so he's someone who's going to hit the ball over the fence. And that's really where he's going to drive most of his value. So 269 average we have globally, 326 OBP, 473 on the slug for Josh Gibson. The special edition card you get for completing the infielders of the Negro League Series. Jonathan Lacroix. Okay, this is cool. This is interesting. So the Lacroix card just dropped on Thursday. We just got it. And we've already got 1,400 plate appearances saying that he can hit. We got 1,400 plate appearances saying that he can hit pretty darn well. 8 on the bat R, strong OBP. From a WAR perspective, outwarring Josh Gibson. So that's pretty interesting to see. We've got, and hold me honest here, guys. I've been told his name is pronounced Lave Cross. If I'm wrong, ring me up like an umpire. Yadier Molina, Yogi Berra, Sherm Lawler, Paul LaDuca, Jorge Posada somehow still above 0.37. We got Butch Henline, Smokey Burgess. Here's our Tim McCarver. So McCarver's a great glove catcher. Absolutely great catcher ability. He's going to help your pitchers, but we're already seeing him below league average from the bat perspective. Mr. Audit just won a Smokey Burgess. Well, here's what you can expect. You can expect a high average. You can expect a decent OBP for a catcher. And you can expect him to be right around league average if you're in a diamond, gold, or silver level. With that being obviously more favorable in a silver, less favorable in a diamond. Brent3232 asking what stat we're sorting by. We're sorting by BAT R, which stands for batting runs. Is it Lacroix or Lucroix? I know I said Jonathan Lacroix. That's definitely what I said. Now, if you need to go hard into the Lou, if you really need to sell out for it, if you need to go Lucroix, then ring me up by all means. All right, we're ringing it up. That's gonna be our first one. I'll wear it. It's a Brewer. Who cares how they're pronounced anyway, right? All right, so we move on from catcher. So some interesting names for you to consider. Actually, before we move on, let's go tier by tier. That's another thing we like to do here. So we'll look at iron catchers. No one's using any. We will look at bronze catchers. No one's using any. We will look at silver catchers. And so what do we have here for silver catchers? We've got Austin Hedges and Roberto Perez. You might ask yourself, why on earth would anyone use a catcher who hits this poorly? And the answer would be defense. Very high catcher ability. They really help out your pitchers. They help prevent runs. They help steal strikes. They help in many ways. But from a bat perspective is not one of them. Buddy Rozar, Yadier Molina, better hitters, both of them. All right, let's talk. So we move up from silver to gold. I just had a brain cramp there. I forgot what was above silver. And we've got Heavy Johnson here, Paul LaDuca, Butch Henline, Sandy Alomar Jr., So some familiar characters here. No one with a ton of plate appearances until we get to Salvador Perez. He's down at negative 32 on the BAT-R. Not someone to recommend. Biz Mackey, a Negro League card. An excellent defense on him as well. Yeah, Ochoa asking where Biz Mackey is. He's hanging out down here. 259 OBP. Now, if you're new to this game, do note that in last year's game of Perfect Team, the catcher that most teams ended up running was someone who hit right around here. Someone who couldn't hit a lick, but their defense kept him in the lineup. And it was a Pudge Rodriguez face of the franchise card that was most ubiquitous with Perfect League rosters. All right, we move on from gold to diamond. Who are our top diamond catchers? We've got the Bubbles, Hargrave, that we've talked about a ton. Jonathan Lacroix, Lave Cross, Yogi Berra, Sherm Lawler. And then we finish out with our perfect catchers. Josh Gibson being the best hitter. Yadi Molina, Tim McCarver, Ernie Lombardi. Thoughts on Charles Johnson? My thought would be that he can't hit, but he sure will help your pitchers. Not too dissimilar to these other guys that we've looked at. So let's try to compare him to those Cleveland catchers that are live, okay? So we know both are going to help your pitchers out a ton. Now, who's going to help out your offense the most? Charles will help you out. If you are to believe in BAT-R, he's going to help you score 15 more runs than Roberto Perez, and then a little bit more than that than Austin Hedges. So you're going from a 174 hitter to a 203 hitter. The OBP jumps even less than that. You get a little bit more slug out of it, 313. But if we're talking about the premium you pay to jump from a live card for a defensive catcher to a diamond, which is rising in price, this is what we're looking at. All right, so we are done with catcher. We move on to first base. Look at what T-Chuck does to my data. T-Chuck, you're a wild man. So we've got T-Chuck's Ronald Acuna here, not only polluting first base data with him being in it, he's an outfielder, and here T-Chuck is running him at first base, but also having just an insane season with regard to BAT-R. He had a 270, 361, 520 season. What kind of counting stats came with that? Looks like I don't have homers in this view. But it's a big season for Acuna. Puts him at the top of this leaderboard for global first base leaders in our top 3 leagues. Behind him, we have Todd Helton. Now, I'm surprised to see Helton hanging out here, to be honest. I would not have expected that. That was not a card that Kidneys and I spoke too highly of on Thursday night, but a card that certainly is hitting so far in the 1,100 plate appearances it has gotten in the 3 highest levels. Orlando Cepeda, Joe Kelly, Nomar Garciaparra, Nap, Lajoie close out the position there. Now let's go tier by tier. So we have no iron cards. We do not have any bronze cards. We've got a couple silvers, but we're talking about first base here. So we really need first base to hit. We can hide someone who can't play defense here, as T-Chuck is doing with Ronald Acuna for who knows why. So we don't want to look at either of these guys and think, oh, there's a budget option. I can hide him at first base, or he's not too bad. Like, we really need to max out first base to produce runs with that bat. And so as we're looking at the 2 silver cards in the data set here, both negative, no thank you. Move up to gold. So we've got the tournament special edition card, Nap Lajoie here at the top. Kevin Seitzer, who is a live SE. Very easy to get your hands on one of these. John Jaha, also a live SE. Dan McGann, Kent Herbeck, Frank McCormick, Mark Grace. Move on up from gold to diamond. And here's where we see that Helton at the top of the sugar pile. Joe Kelly, a 99 card. Nicely statted. Behind him, you have Nomar Garciaparra. So Garciaparra, a live SE, someone who I've been rocking at first base since just about launch. All right, from diamond, we go to perfect. And here we have the Acuna at the top of the list here. Orlando Cepeda, Eddie Murray. So that is first base. We go to second base. Oh, buddy, look at this data, guys. Look at this. I am guessing we will not see another position with this big a gap between first and second place on a sustainable basis. You know, we're talking about big sample size here for Jackie. We've got 11,000 plate appearances of the special edition Jackie Robinson card that can be attained when you complete all 3 of the Negro League Series collections. Pitchers, outfielders, infielders. And we see him absolutely dominating here. The triple slash for Jackie globally is 302, 395, 496. So an absolutely huge bat and way better than everyone else at the position. Junior Spivey coming in with a short sample, 845 behind him. George Grantham, 828 behind him. I think I've taken this Spivey in a perfect draft before. Tony Lazzeri, Miller Huggins, Joe Gordon. We got a Jeff McNeil live card here. Let's go tier by tier. So with bronze, we've got a David Fletcher live, a very versatile card, a card that I've used on and off in bronze tournaments. He's been used a bit in main leagues, at least in gold and silver ones, and not really thriving with the bat. You can probably do better than a David Fletcher for that utility role. We move up to silver. Jeff McNeil live. You know, Jeff McNeil live is an underrated card. You know, this is a card that definitely has a good BABIP, as we're talking about the term, and a good shape to his profile. Is versatile in that he's got stock defense at second, third. I want to say at least one corner outfield, maybe both. So a card that makes a good backup. And if you're a budget team looking for someone to plop in for cheap at second base, you can do a lot worse than Jeff McNeil. Uh-oh. Excel is angry. And we're back. All right, let's talk about gold ones. Junior Spivey, top of this list. Nick Madrigal comes in second behind Spivey. Nick Gonzalez behind him. So Nick Madrigal, you see him with that 303 average. That's what happens when you combine his great BABIP with his great avoid K. From gold to diamond. And here in diamond, the best entrant we have is George Grantham. Behind him, Sammy Strang. If that's strange, let me know. Phil Garner, Kid Elberfeld. I think I got there. And we go to perfect. And here is where you've got Jackie.
Attention, it's meta.
If any card is meta, it's Jackie Robinson. Just incredible performance. Here's this Ian Kinsler card we pulled week 1 and sold. Feeling like that was a decent decision. We move on from second. We go to shortstop. And look who's at the top here. Still Jackie Robinson. His meta-ness has expanded into another position where he is doubling the field as well. So 22.64 for Jackie. Next best is Willie Wells at 11.87. Behind him is Alan Trammell at 11.54. I'm curious to compare Wells and Trammell's WAR numbers, and you see Wells a much better defender, and therefore putting up an additional 2 WAR per season. Rich Jiminy asking if I'd play Wells over Trammell, and I definitely would. So the bats are even here, and we have WAR definitely favoring Willie Wells. Even though he's got an ugly BSR there, it looks like it needs to be managed. Bill Gleason, Jordan Groshans. We got Nomar, 7.43. Some huge samples on both Trammell and Nomar here. Let's go tier by tier. So iron, no cards. Bronze, no cards. Silver, Jose Iglesias live. Miguel Rojas live. Back when the silver RR3 revolution was alive and well, Miguel Rojas was planted right in the middle of my silver build team, but I don't know that he belongs in main leagues at this point in time. We move on from silver, we go to gold. We've got, and this is either Geraldo or Geraldo Perdomo. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Geraldo Perdomo, and I'm willing to live with the consequences if I guess wrong. Vidal Brujan, second. We've got Chico Carrasquel, third. CJ Abrams, fourth. And Freddie Parent, fifth. Diamond time. Willie Wells, Bill Gleason, Jordan Groshans, Nomar Garciaparra, and then Kid Elberfeld, finishing out with Jackie in his meta state. All right, so we move on from shortstop. We go to the hot corner. We go to third base. Popping off the page here, we have a Josh Young. I believe that is definitely Josh Young. Let's see if we can find one in the wild. I don't think I have one, but here's one for the York Dragons. Here's what Josh Young looks like. He's a right-handed third baseman. He's got a profile that's not too dissimilar versus left versus right. Versus. I can say that a couple times. But again, not one that I expect to live up here. This is likely an outlier season. Maybe it's even in my league. Let's see how good he did for the York Dragons. He didn't play. But a 306, 376 on base percentage, 488 slug. Dogberry's giving me some daps for getting Young right. Feel good about that. All right, third base, second best, Fernando Tatis, the live card. I've got him. Not on my team, but I've got that card. It's a good live card as far as live cards go. Tony Lazzeri, third. Eddie Matthews. Where's Al Rosen? Al Rosen kind of sinking down here from a bat perspective more than I thought he would. Let's see if he's up there from a WAR perspective. 2.8. So one thing to note, look at the sample sizes on these first three guys we have here. We've got 773 of Young, 650 of Tatis, 715 of Lazzeri. If you're looking for a sample size of data to make decisions off of and feel great about it, we're really talking about 10,000 plate appearances, which we don't have that for anyone but Terry Pendleton here. But you can feel at least okay once we get into that 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 plate appearance realm. But also just need to understand that with the funkiness that is stadium factors, pulling main league data, there's always a bit of context that needs to come with it, and it's not always available depending on how you got your hands on that data. All right, let's go by tiers here. Iron, no one's playing iron third baseman. Bronze, no one's playing bronzes. Silver, we've got Jeff McNeil again. Doing an okay job hitting in main league play. Gold cards, Minnie Minoso, the very best gold card in main league play. Right behind him, Austin Martin, a nice future legend card. We've got both of them standing out well above the rest of them. Trey Turner, Bob Horner, Manny Machado as the next best three, but Minoso and Martin definitely hitting a notch above both of them. Riff Raff's Elbow says Minoso's profile slaps. Let's find him. He's got to be in here somewhere. He's everywhere. Here is the slapping Minoso profile. He's not going to win a Gold Glove at third base or left field or right field for that matter. But early game cycle, he is going to hit. He's got very high contact, lower power, average avoid K. It's going to have a good BABIP when he makes contact. Chaston Ruin asking if Trey has to be trained at third base. I'm guessing yes, because I can't ever recall a time when the Nationals played him there. That'd be my guess. Fred the Baker asking if I post the spreadsheet somewhere. No, I don't post it anywhere, but if you have any specific player questions, I'm always happy to dig in and share them. Yuka sees Mike Lowell. He's hanging out right here. All right, we move up to Diamond. We've got Josh Young at the top here in a short sample. Freddie Hebner. Where did I get Freddie from? There's not even a Freddie on this list. Richie Hebner, second. Nomar Garciaparra, third. Frank Baker, fourth. And Buddy Bell, fifth. Here's Terry Pendleton. Our highest market share guy, but not our highest performer in the Diamond tier. Richie, quote-unquote, Freddie Hebner. Yep, I think Coach Ruffy's right. We got to ring me up for that one. That one doesn't work. That one's not good. We're going with 2 on that one. If you just completely manufacture a name that's not even on screen, you can't just write that off as a flub of the tongue. Oh, boy. Let's move on from third base. Let's go to corner outfield. We're going to do left field and right field together. We're going to do them together. And we see Pedro Leon at the top here. I believe this was Nick Waddick's card. And short sample here, so don't get too excited. Oh, look at this. We've got some Torriente data. 644 plate appearances of Cristobal Torriente. A packable 100 card. Really high average, really high OBP. Strong slug, too. Oscar Charleston. 1906. Now, Charleston, does he come stock with left field? He does. So Oscar Charleston comes with crazy center field defense, like literally crazy. It's 120 position rating, driven by 106 range and 105 arm. Absolutely beautiful. He also hits a ton, and he's got great base running. He's got some potentially problematic stolen base skills, at least as it relates to his running speed. So his appetite for steals might be a bit higher than his ability to deliver them. So that's probably the one fly in the ointment as we look at this profile. But I expect this card to be meta for a good long while.
Attention, it's meta.
Cycle. And we see him hitting here in the corner outfield. Now, if you put him in right field, he's not going to deliver the same defensive value that he would in center. But perhaps you've got someone in center that is even better defensively. Someone asking about Diamond Tim Raines. If he's not here, then I don't have enough data. So let's go tier by tier. We'll start with the iron cards. No one's playing them. Bronze. Ooh, we've got George Case here. We've got a George Case who's not hitting, but I'm guessing he's stealing a bunch. BSR of 6.16. Not bad. Let's go to silver. We've got a live card. A couple live cards, actually, and a Hack Miller. We go to gold. Someone asked about Corbin Carroll. We do have Corbin Carroll here. We have him just slightly under league average at negative 1.64 on the BAT R. Doing a strong OBP profile, low slug for a corner outfielder. You guys think my meta is too loud? I mean, when a player makes the meta, I want the world to know. I want to shout it from the rooftops. Someone's eyeballing Gold Reigns. Where is he? Here he is. Gold Reigns not hitting so well in that short sample. 275, 345, 359. 1,100 plate appearances in it. Now, the one thing I'll caution you, if this year is anything like last year, we can have false positives and false negatives as it relates to short week ads. So Tim Raines dropped on Thursday, right? Oh wait, no, this is a gold Tim Raines. This isn't a diamond. But anyways, the point remains. I'll share it anyway. So if a card drops on a Thursday and we get it into our data and the card just stinks, the card's not good at all, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to rebound or be wildly different the following week. So the way that the baselines are handled, the way that the baselines exist, I should say, make it such that a card that is plunked into lineups Thursday after Chris's stream and gets to run for 3 days, 2.5 days really, you know, that those stats, even when we stuff up, even when we combine a bunch of copies of those cards, can and have given us false positives and false negatives. So for the newer cards, we'll always hedge a little bit. All right, let's go to Diamond for the corner outfield. Brennan Davis, Joe Kelly, Hack Wilson. And then perfect. Torriente at the top, Charleston, and Enos Slaughter. All right, let's go to center field. Best center fielder, Mike Trout. Mike Trout delivering the best bat value in center field. Now, we saw some of his observed performances, just ridiculous on base percentages, and we're seeing that here globally. He's at .372 on base. Low average for sure, 255, but strong slugging at 450. If you find yourself on a hot Mike Trout roll, you can have a great season. Martin Digo comes in at second here, 16.1. Hack Wilson third, 13.36. Barry Bonds fourth, Ronald Acuna fifth. Let's go tier by tier. We'll go with iron. Not much cooking there. Bronze, we've got one. Maurice Archdeacon, a one-hit wonder card. We go to silver. We got Sam Jethro, Torrey Hunter, Christian Pash Live. And then in gold, our top gold center fielders, Vernon Wells, Bert Shotton, and then Corbin Carroll. Actually hitting better as a center fielder than he did as a corner outfielder. In diamond, we've got Hack Wilson at the top of the sugar pile here. Ginger Beaumont, guy on my team, next. What Bobby did I get wrong? I missed my Bobby. I knew I had Martin Digo, right? Because when I did my prep work for that Thursday stream, I was surprised to learn the actual incorrect pronunciation. So I said that one with pride, but apparently I missed a Bobby. Oh, so it was Bobby Bonds and I said Barry. All right, I'll wear it. Make it 3. We'll see if we can get out of the stream before we hit to 5. All right, so perfect center fielders. Trout, Digo, Bobby Bonds, and Ronald Acuna. All right, so these are our hitters, guys. As we look at all the hitters smashed up and together here, and what I'm going to do just for this one little moment here is let's change our filter. Let's go up to 4,000 plate appearances. Nah, maybe that's too high. Let's go up to 3,000 just to get rid of all of these little noisy small sample guys here. And so once we raise it up there, our top hitters in the game, our top bats, start with Jackie. They go to Mike Trout next, Joe Kelly, Orlando Cepeda, Enos Slaughter, Hack Wilson, Eddie Matthews, Alan Trammell, Oscar Charleston, then Ronald Acuna. We've got a Moises Alou sighting in here. He had a very good week as well. All right, so we are done with hitters, guys. But before we leave, it's request time. So I will take the first 15 requests in the channel to see a player on this chart. And so this top chart here is their performance by league. So if they have played in every league, then they will show up in every league, all the way from rookie up to diamond. And then this bottom chart here is year to year. So we'll see how their performance has degraded over time. So let me go to the top of this list as they're populating rather quickly. Looks like we've not only got Sammy Strang first, but we've got a Police that goes with it. So Harak Photo setting the bar from a politeness perspective. So where's Sammy? Here he is. And Sammy has played in every level on the way up. There we go. Sammy has played in all the way from rookie up to diamond, and we see that the performance degrades as you might expect. So over 1 in rookie, actually pretty consistent from stone to gold, and then diamond falling off here. Could be smaller sample, hard to say. And then from a year-to-year perspective, looks like I need to shrink this a little bit so that it looks a little bit better. There we go. From a year-to-year perspective, we're not seeing wild fluctuation up or down here, just kind of living in that 700 to 800 realm ever since launch week. Let's go to Enos Slaughter. You know, one thing I forgot to ask for was putting the card rating in there, because I do have this sorted by card rating, so hopefully I'll be able to guess it. Here's Enos Slaughter. Now, he's got a very smooth curve. This doesn't necessarily say anything about his rating set versus someone else's. What it says is that we've got a gigantic sample size of him as he was part of the live series collections. And so it's just going to be smoother data. And we see that the degrade goes from 940 in rookie down to 789 in diamond. And then from a year perspective, the first year is probably a data point that I should throw out because everyone mashed in that first year, 2021. But from 2022 to 2025, consistently in that 860 to 820 range. Hack Wilson, he's a 99er. Look at that straight line down. Maybe this is giving some hope to kidneys. His hair is on the line here. If anyone missed it, your kidneys, keeper of the sheet, said that if Hack Wilson is meta, I can't remember exactly how he termed it. It was either if he was diamond level meta or if he was meta by the time Perfect League came around, he would shave his head. But we're seeing here that even though Hack is mashing in rookie, up in diamond only at 737 this week, gold has dipped below 800 OPS as well. And we know that Hack Wilson is not out there for his glove. He'll play you a passable left or right and a bad center field. 58 Pedroia. Is that even a card? I don't see a Dustin Pedroia here, 58. Lou Whitaker, I don't know that one. Harry Heilman, that's a good one to get to. So what is Heilman? Was he a 92, I think? I don't see him here. I know he exists, so maybe he's a 93? Maybe someone's got me at the bottom. 94, Harry Heilman. Let's check him out. All right, so obviously we only have 1 year of him because he just dropped. But of the data that we do have, he didn't mash at any particular level. 853 bronze, 805 in silver, 697 in gold, and 755 in diamond. So perhaps globally, the Harry Heilmans are a bit underwhelming in this short sample. Now, we'll have to see what he does next week before we draw any conclusions from it. Ripper Collins. I think he's a 95er. There he is. Ripper Collins. Someone who actually, once he got to silver level, has kind of leveled out. So 772 in silver, 771 in gold, 759 in diamond. And then from a year perspective, slowly decaying here from 2023 to 2025. Nick Madrigal, I believe he's an 85. He sure is. Nick Madrigal, very even here. And I think this is born out of his profile. Like, even when he has horrible pitchers pitching to him, he's not going to hit the ball over the fence. So his chances of logging a ridiculous, 1.0 OPS season are just non-existent. So a very steady, very consistent profile. You're getting something from 700 to 850, depending on the level that you're at. All of that's going to have a high average, though. He'll always be right at or above 300 for you. At least until we get better cards around. Now, the Pedroia, I think, was actually an 85. Let's get that in here. Here's Dustin Pedroia Hardware Heroes card. You can see the data up on your screen. Oddly consistent year to year. A very tight band of 736 to 772. 774, excuse me. Lacroix. So Lacroix is what, a 92? Sometimes the brain remembers. All right, Lacroix silver to diamond here. 788 silver, 731 in gold, 782 in diamond. So actually, I remember when I mentioned how well he was performing with the bat, I think it was Dish in the chat saying, well, what level was this at? So 782 in diamond, probably many of those at-bats in Dish's Diamond League. Eric Davis. What level is Eric Davis? Here he is. 100 card. And we see the decay is strong here with Eric Davis. All the way down under 700. And for a hitter to be sticking on my team when he's dropped below 700 on OPS, he had better be bringing quite the glove with him. Ty Cobb, I believe Ty Cobb's an 83. It's funny, the ones you remember and the ones you forget. There he is. Ty Cobb, pretty consistent level to level as well. Kind of looks like that Madrigal card when you look at it. Lenny Dykstra. I don't know what Lenny Dykstra is. Oh, look at that. Just popped off the screen right in my face. 90. Let's go to 99, Joe Kelly. So Joe Kelly, we don't have a ton of sample on him. He was a packable card post-release. So like launch weekend when everyone was going nuts, Joe Kelly's were not in those packs. But here's Joe Kelly. Performing well. 796 diamond, 862 gold, 843 silver. Definitely hitting. All right, we'll do a couple more here. Let's do Terry Pendleton, 99. Looks like the milk has gone bad here on Terry Pendleton. 672 in diamond, 729 in gold. Running out of time in that third base meta for sure. All right, let's do Canseco perfect. Where are you, Jose? There he is. Canseco, 686 in diamond, 706 in gold. Actually, appreciating from a year-to-year perspective. His last 2 years have been better than the two that preceded it. Diamond Reigns. I don't know that one off the top of my head. Let's see if we can find him. Tim Raines got to be here somewhere. There he is. Ooh, not looking good here. 587 diamond, 670 gold, 654 silver. Do not like that one bit. All right, let's do one final one here. We'll do Snodgrass 97. Look at Snodgrass. Shines brightest on the bigger stages. 729 in rookie, scaling all the way up to 839 in silver. Maybe we'll see more of this card going forward. All right, so that concludes this little dive here into the hitters. Now let's take a quick peek at pitchers and then get on to perfect draft and then move out of Dish's way and let him do his thing. All right, so let's look at starters first. Let me erase out my highlights here. We don't need to see those anymore. Let me make sure we're on the correct year. 2025, very good. So who is our starting pitcher of the week? It is Hugh Bedient. That's interesting. 800 high-quality innings, yielding only 3.04 ERA. Let me get Silver out of our data set. Let's recalc. All right, I mean, I kicked Silver out, and Hugh Bedient's still sticking around. I don't know this card. Maybe I need to. Here he is, up on the auction house for double L7 right now. And let's look at his profile, guys. So this doesn't look that dissimilar to Irv Young, right? It's a very heavy movement-based profile, lighter on the control than you think you need, lighter on the stuff than you think you need. Oh, someone catch that. We still have bronze data in here. Let's kick that out, put silver in. Uh-oh. Sorry, Hugh. You were about to have a big moment here in the sun, and not anymore. You've been kicked out of the club. You've been kicked out of the club, and taking your spot at the head of the table is Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige goes to number one here, 3.14 on the ERA. Our best starter in our data set. We have Cy Young behind him. Burley Grimes, third. Sam Lever, fourth. I don't have a Sam Lever. Maybe I want one. Melly Wolfgang coming in at fifth. Let's see if I can find a Wolfgang. No Melly in the league. I don't think I've got a Melly in my personal stash. Ooh, Melly Wolfgang here. And look at that shocker, guys. It's another movement-heavy profile with yucky stuff and yucky control. So this is showing The data that we had last week, the data we had the week before, the data we have now, it's all showing that you can survive on a movement-only profile. Now, before you break out the perfect point piggy bank and go and buy all the movement guys, I am not guaranteeing that will always be the case. But for today, here and now, we have Melly Wolfgang outperforming Greg Maddux. So interesting. You know, if you see a card like this, if this card dropped on a Thursday, me and Kidneys would probably sit here and say, ooh, really don't like that low stuff. Really don't like that low control. But movement-heavy profiles, they are getting it done. That's what makes Irv Young. That's what makes some of the cards we saw perform at the top of the list last week. We've got the Spam 02 pointing out that the profile also seems to be ground ball. Candy Cummings, Mel Harder, Al Orth, Charlie Buffington, Doc Ayers. So let's compare this to my guys. So we know that I added Matlack, Howell, and Rogers because of our data. Let's see how they held up. Here's Matlack. So he's still hanging around. He's 13th on the list now. Where's those other guys? Rogers dipped a good bit down to 4.16. That's not great. And then, where's Harry Howell? Maybe I missed him. Harry Howell's not even on here. Not enough innings to qualify. So what pitcher that you're using do you not see on this list and want to know where they show up? Don Sutton says Brent 3232. Let's find Sut. Can we really not have a Sutton in this sample size? I mean, we only have 400 innings. People have moved on from Sutton that quickly at the 3 highest levels. That's surprising to me. Verlander, Langston. Oh, wait, there's Sutton. I don't know what was wrong with my Control F. But here's Sutton at 4.35. And Justify said that I was missing Howell as well. Port Dog says I was borking something. Line 50, yeah. I need you guys. You guys keep me on track here. You guys keep me on track. All right, let's see. Lanier, Max Lanier. See if Control F wants to play along. Entire cell contents was checked. That's the problem. We figured it out. All right, Max Lanier is at 4.01 on the ERA. Chapman is a reliever. We'll save him for when we go to relievers. Fitzsimmons. Freddie Fitzsimmons is at 4.21. Verlander. Verlander's at 3.99. Hendricks is a reliever. We'll save him. John Lester. Let's see if we can find a John Lester. Sorry. I love me some John Lester, but he's not here. Chesbro, 97. Misspelled that one. 4.55 for Jack Chesbro. Let's go to Live DeGrom. Live DeGrom, 4.16. Walker Buehler recently demoted from perfect card to diamond. 5.01 on the ERA. Garrett Cole, this is rapid fire round at this point. 4.32 on Garrett Cole. Fred Glade. That's not a card I'm familiar with. Fred Glade at 3.90. Not bad. Not bad at all. Darryl Kyle. Let's see if we've got a Darryl Kyle. He's at 3.99. Bob Carruthers. Carruthers was right towards the top of the list last week. Where is he now? 4.22. He's come down quite a bit. Doc White, 96. And then we'll move to relievers. Will White. Doc White, 4.84. Can't think a good one says... Oh, can't think of a good username. I like that. Roger Clemens. So Roger Clemens at 410. So those are our starters. Let's go to relievers. All right, top of the list for, I don't know, the fourth or fifth week in a row is Bill Campbell. Definitely a card getting it done in the bullpen. We see that he's 0.3 runs better than the entire field. Coming in second is Kid Nichols, Larry Anderson. We have Bert Roberge at 307. Love that name. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. Jason Isringhausen, Roberto Osuna, Jeff Reardon, Zach Duke with a surprise appearance here. I don't know that this is sustainable. Super high whip, super low K per 9. Those aren't normally the ingredients for a great reliever. Hal Haid. Could have mispronounced that one. We'll see. Robert J. I got another one. Eleanor Frisbee rings me up. Thank you. Got to keep me honest here. Make it 4 on the mispronounced names counter. Robert J. Oh, she was kidding. Well, I think I had a bunch of half credits up to this point. So we'll wear it. Casey Jansen, I put this guy in my bullpen because I saw the 3.56 global ERA. You know what he gave me? He gave me 4.55. And so what is the reason why? Why did I get less out of Casey Jansen in the field? Could it be dumb luck? Yeah. It could also be that he is a low stuff reliever and I don't have the right defense for him. So we talked about that at the jump. We talked about that at the start of the show. Definitely something to keep in mind. All right, let us wrap this up and get over to Perfect Draft. If you have any questions of players that we did not cover, let me know. And I'll get it to you sometime during this week. All right, so what we're drafting tonight, guys, is we are drafting for that special edition Nap Lajoie card. And when we win it, we're going to feel great. We left last week after what was just a horrendous drafting experience, and there's no way we do worse this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave up our top hitters in the top levels as our cheat sheet here as we start this draft. Oh, buddy, and they're giving me some options. They are giving me some options. So Jazzy Jesus asking if you need an elite defense to be able to get the most out of low stuff pitchers. And the answer is yes. And let's think about it logically. And I'm using my draft countdown here to get on the soapbox. Probably a bad idea. But when you have low stuff pitchers, it means they are striking out less people comparatively than the other people within the league. And so if they are striking out less batters, that means more balls are in play. And so your fielders are making more plays. And so if you have comparatively average or comparatively great or comparatively horrible fielders, all of that is going to manifest itself in either more or less outs. And you definitely want that equation to be more if you've got a staff that is heavily invested in low stuff, guys. All right, what do we have here? We got Campy, McCarver, Utley, Turkey because it's a fun name. And then we've got Wainham saying go Will Clark. All right, I will never pick Will Clark. That is a point of principle. I was a 6-year-old boy watching my Cubs in the NLCS, and he ruined the entire experience. I will never pick Will Clark. It's never going to happen. All right, I'm done with that. We can talk McCarver now. All right, let's go McCarver. I like the idea of going ahead and ticking the box of having a great catcher behind the plate. We know he's about a league average bat. Let's rock and roll. Ooh, buddy. Oh my gosh, look at the options here. Joe Kelly or Cool Papa? We know Papa's got great D out in center. We also know he steals a million bases. And in a format like this that has some weaker pitching, he can even hit a bit too. I mean, how do we not go Papa? If we didn't go, it would be to do Joe Kelly. 100% Kelly, says Jazzy. Caprine Assassin saying, cool Papa Bell, not even a choice. Not even a question. Okay. Let's go cool Papa. Let's do it. I like great defense in center, great defense behind the plate, and then in a tournament like this, they're not going to hit that poorly either. Let's rock and roll. All right, what do we have here? What do we have? We've got cards I don't recognize. I don't like that. Ooh. Nels Potter Silver tourney legend from last year, Nels Potter. Don't love his profile as much, what I'm seeing here. Ooh, Maury Wills, he can play shortstop. We're going to do the all-defense build. We're doing the all-defense build. Maury Wills. Pick him up. All right, it's gold time. We're picking 2 cards. 2 cards now. Let's find a winner. We know that this Vernon Wells popped in our data this week, but we've already got a center fielder, and Wells can't really pick it with the glove. Durham, low glove second baseman. Ryan Howard, he can hit a little bit. Pitching. Great Scott 66 reminding us that we have no pitchers. And if I wanted to add pitching, I can have a reliever or a reliever. So, yeah. Don't love that. Let's see Adam Eaton. The all-glove team gets another glove with Adam Eaton. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens. And then we just go with crazy low stuff guys the rest of the way. All right, so Adam Eaton and right. I mean, is one of these relievers worth picking just to have an arm? Tippy wouldn't be bad. Tanner Scott, he wouldn't be bad either. He'd get lefties out for sure. I mean, Perez is a viable glove, but I'm not going to pick a backup catcher this early. Does Thon play second? Nope, he doesn't. I really don't like my choices here. I'd love it if there was a masher bat that we could pick up, but I just don't see it. Durham can't play second. Ryan Howard, super birdie. No, thank you. I think I'll go with a reliever. I'll pick my favorite one between Tippy and Tanner. I think I'll go Tanner. All right, we move on. We've got this Bip Roberts. I like this card. Switch hitter. We got to find starters, though. I'd really love to get 2 starters here to get on that train. Ooh, Alex Pearson. You know, from what we've been looking at, guys, this crazy movement might be viable. And we know he's got low stuff, so he's going to put the ball in play, right? Well, we've got a defense that can pick it. So no one's using this Alex Pearson card. It's a special edition. I'm guessing it's a tourney card. I think that we could get good performance with this team with this Alex Pearson card. What do you guys think? I think we could do it. I think the data we've been looking at tonight tells us that Alex Pearson card can work for us. Let's see who else is viable here as you guys populate the chat with your brilliance that I'm going to steal. I feel strongly about the Pearson. Do it. YOLO. For sure get Pearson. All right, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. Now let's find someone else. Now this Brandon League would fit our team build beautifully because he's got the movement to prevent homers. He's not going to walk into anyone, and he'll put the ball in play. So he'd be a great reliever, but we're still just one starter. I'd love to get another one. It's just these guys stink. Thornton Lee, no thank you. This Bip Roberts, kind of defensively versatile. He could back up center field. Good base runner. 72 and left isn't bad. Someone says Rats. Now I'm looking for Rats Henderson. Can Ozzie play second? Not great. Billy Williams. I don't know. I'm between Brandon League and Bip Roberts. You guys break the tie. Play for Thrills. Thrills is questioning our decision to go Pearson over Lee. I just don't know what is to like about this Lee card. There's nothing here but stamina. All right, Bip. The people have decided. We go Bip Lee and we move on. What do we have waiting for us in this round? We need starting pitching. We know we do. I'd love to find some low stuff starting pitching that can play into our defense. And we are not finding it here. This is our last gold round, isn't it? So we probably need to get starters regardless. At least one. Why not Kazmir? Says Dishnet. I don't know. I really don't love it. Like, he's the reverse build for our team. He's going to give up walks and strike people out. We've got a team built for the opposite. But at the end of the day, we need to have good pitchers. So if that's the form that we have available to us, then that's what we take. I like this Lindy. Could really use a bopper in the middle of our lineup, too. Here's a short side platoon guy. I use every second of these clocks, don't I? All right, what do we have in the chat here? Why not Kazmir? Carlton, Redding. Fantastic player, Charlie Hemphill. That's a ringing endorsement. He's a base runner. Bad defender. Stroh ground ball pitcher. Extreme ground ball. He's not really strong in any of the ratings. All right. Well, I think we pick up a couple of starters just because that's kind of what you do before you get into the silver round. We already have our best starter is a gold. And so as we get into our second and third starter, I feel like I don't want to already be into the silvers there. So I think we go with Dick Redding, and hopefully he can avoid the long ball. And then, because Dish is a good guy, I'll get his Scott Kazmir. We move on to the silver round. Let's see what we have waiting for us here. Goodness gracious, this has not been the best starting pitcher draft so far. We have not had a lot of choices. But we got Larry Gardner here. Larry Gardner can pick it at third. He'll also hit a good bit, too. Good BABIP. Decent eye. I like Gardner to plug third base. Pinky Higgins is a good name. That is a fact. He's not a good player in this game, though. That is also a fact. All right, what kind of profiles do we have on these pitchers? Looks like the second baseman can't really pick it there. Bundy, super low movement. Don't like it. Taylor, I like that he can play everywhere, but he's not really good. So I'd like him a whole lot more as a bronze or an iron. So we'll skip on him. My dog would like to join the stream. I think we go Norton, too. We'll start loading up the bullpen. 9 minutes left. Ooh, Saul White. This might solve our second base issues. It sure will. So we continue building the theme. And we don't have a ton of production on this team, and we also don't have the best pitching. So we might win gold gloves. We might not win a lot of games, but we'll just have to see what plays out. But I like Saul White here for sure. Let's see what else we have. We don't have a first baseman. Garvey, can you hit? Garvey's not bad. He'll definitely hit lefties a lot better than righties. That versus right profile kind of stinks. Well, we need a first baseman, running out of time, and I don't see another player here that's really sticking out to me. Actually, this Ed Summers. He's low stuff. We've got a defensive build here. I don't know if I'm going to get another profile better than this, and I still need two anyway. So we'll go Ed Summers and Saul White. All right, we move on. We got Ted Trent. Brooks Robinson here. Shoot. We went with Larry Gardner, and now we've got a Brooks Robinson. Could always pick them both up. Does Gardner have any defensive flexibility? He doesn't. Ooh, I love this Michael Fulmer. Let's do it. I wouldn't say I love him. I love him for the team we have. Out of a fifth starter, we can have 70-plus movement. Brooks plays outfield too? Looks like they've only got him with third. Could really use a bat at first base. A left-hand bat. Valbuena ain't it. All right, well, this will take care of our rotation. Rondell White's a nice short side platoon guy. Yeah, he can cover for Eaton, so he can bat VL, take Eaton out of the lineup, and then cover for anyone who's tired. Who's Scott? George Scott. Let's check him out. Ooh, I like that rating at first base. I think George Scott. Yep, you guys are right. That's the play. So Fulmer and Scott, we got 6 minutes. All right, so what do we need? We still need a DH, like a big bat. Here's Satchel Paige. I mean, he might be a better starter than we've got with Ed Summers. I think he almost certainly is. Yep, I think we got to go Paige. We can move Summer into the pen. Here's Nippy Jones. Are you a left-hander? He's a right-hander. This team is a bit more right-handed than I'd like. But we still need a DH, and that's not a bad bat. I mean, he's not going to walk enough, but the overall shape to the profile is pretty good. He's going to hit pretty well versus lefties, too. G-Man Choi, no thank you. 5 minutes left. Nippy says Rod Deere in the headlights. Taylor, Josh Taylor. What am I doing with Josh Taylor? Dishnet out here trying to tank this team. He must be in this tournament. All right, we'll go Nippy. We'll go Nippy Jones. All right, let's get scooting here. 4 minutes. 4.5. Ooh, Bob Bescher. Love him as a base runner. He can get on base versus right-hand pitching, too. That's interesting. What else do we have here? We need relievers. Oh, and Ben Weber fits our build perfectly. Low stuff, high movement, acceptable control. We do need a backup catcher still. We haven't seen one with any defense yet. Chaston Ruin just said the same thing. And look at that, great Scott. All of us, great minds are thinking alike right now. We've got Jerks and Profar with defense everywhere. We don't have a ton of backups yet. He's really only good at second and left, though, but potentially viable. Joey Votto. He's going to be high I platoon bat. I mean, Jason Hayward is so horrible in his present form, it's hard for me to hit the draft button on him. He actually had a pretty good year last year, though. All right. You know what? I think I'm going 2 relievers here. We're going Cassian and Weber. Both fit our build perfectly. So now we've got 10 arms in our pen. We're going to save the final 2 for our iron round. So this round, ideally, we get our backup catcher, which we've got a horrible choice at it here. What about this one? Not bad. I think we go Mike Gonzalez here because we don't know. We don't know what the future holds. He can pinch run, and when he's thrown in there, he's not going to be horrendous. What else do we have? Hobie Landreth, Steve Jones. We do need relievers still, but I prefer next round. So I love a versatile bat. Here we go. Here's a lefty. We don't have a ton of lefties on this team who can play first, left, and right. So Valent is pretty interesting. Eddie Wykus, he can play first and left. Ooh, I like that bat even more. Let's get Wykus. So we'll get Gonzalez and Wykus. And we move on. Final round here. So I want 2 pitchers because I like ending with 12. And then I need defensive versatility. So let's pick out our pitchers first. Here we go. Low stuff guy. Let's go for it. Okay, not a ton of pitchers in this round. Looks like my only other options are Gorman Haymuller, or Phillips Valdez. I think I'll go with Phillips. All right, now let's get some outfield gloves. So Sanchez can play all three. Tapia can play all three. He's actually pretty good in both corners, whereas Sanchez is only good in one corner. Jared Oliva, center field only. Andy Young can play three in the infield. So Josh Van Meter, I like him, except he can't play shortstop. We need someone who can play shortstop. Ooh, Fonville can play shortstop. I think he's going to have a good shape to his profile, too, and a good base runner. And he's a switch hitter. Chad Fonville, you made the team, buddy. So we've got him to back up short now. All right, Yuka just got me on a mispronunciation. We'll bring it up after we get this in here. I mean, we still need two. I could always get Young and Van Meter. No, maybe we go Tapia because we're right-hand heavy. So we'll get Tapia for corner outfield backup. And then let's see what Van Meter's profile looks like. Kind of ugly bat. Let's see what Andy Young. Really birdieing. All right, we'll go Van Meter. He's got more flexibility. And this is our team. We did it. We got done just in time, just under the wire. Guaranteed to win. Oopsies. I just made it 56. And that's it, guys. This was Practice Makes Perfect League. We looked at the stats. We looked at the profiles that are succeeding. And we made decisions off of it. So be sure you join us next week. We'll look at another week's worth of data. You will see another week's worth of moves that I make for my Naperville Nomads. And hopefully you see me and yourself continuing to progress towards Perfect League. We are not that far away, guys. We are not that far away. And for anyone who was about to cash the ticket for under 5 mispronounced names, I feel terrible. I feel even worse if it was under 4.5. Oh, but thanks so much for joining, guys. It's a ton of fun having you guys interact, having you guys share the players that you're interested in, share your opinions, helping me draft a perfect team via the perfect draft. It's a lot of fun. So stick around. Make sure you stick around for Dish, and make sure you join us next week. And then we'll see what Chris Jardine has in store for us on Thursdays, and we will go from there. So with that, this is DRC signing off. Have a good night.